Mall security follows black shopper, shocked when she's recognized as an influencer. Amara Thompson is a vibrant, well-known influencer in her 20s who has dedicated years to building an online community centered around self-empowerment, entrepreneurship, and resilience. Today, her journey brings her to the bustling, upscale Westwood Mall, a familiar place where she has shopped many times before. She arrives with excitement, hoping to explore the latest collections in her favorite stores and gather some content ideas for her upcoming brand partnership, a collaboration she secured through her own hard work and growing influence. Before we can continue, if you love your family, subscribe to this channel to help up creating amazing stories. Now let's continue. The mall is bright and lively, with a steady hum of voices and a glittering array of seasonal decorations. As Amara strolls through the wide aisles, she takes in the sights, capturing short videos for her Instagram followers, showcasing everything from the intricate window displays to the sprawling food court filled with scents of fresh pastries and gourmet coffee. She shares these small moments with her followers, each story a reminder of her authenticity and relatability. For Amara, being in the mall is not just a casual outing, but a chance to connect with her audience by sharing snippets of her everyday life. Unbeknownst to Amara, her presence has already drawn the attention of a mall security guard named Rick. Rick, a middle-aged man with a stern expression, has worked in security for over a decade, priding himself on his keen instincts for spotting suspicious behavior. He notices Amara's interactions with her phone as she films herself, and without any concrete evidence or reason, he quickly assumes that she might be up to no good. Her confident strides, her expressive gestures as she speaks into her phone, and even her chosen style, chic but casual, strike him as unusual and, in his mind, somehow out of place. Amara continues shopping, unaware of Rick's scrutinizing gaze. She moves from store to store, exploring high-end brands and designer collections, admiring the newest releases in fashion, jewelry, and accessories. Occasionally, she stops to photograph a unique item or to document a particularly eye-catching display, tagging the brands and adding her signature hashtags to connect with her followers. As she steps into a luxury clothing store, her enthusiasm and love for fashion are apparent in the way she browses through the racks, her eyes lighting up at each exciting new piece she finds. But Rick, from a distance, begins following her, becoming more and more convinced that something is off. He tells himself it's his duty to ensure the safety of the mall, though there is nothing specific in Amara's actions to justify his assumptions. His decision to tail her, however, is fueled by his own biases, ones he's perhaps never fully questioned before. As he continues watching her every move, Rick fails to consider that his own judgment may be clouded by preconceived notions rather than any factual basis. Amara, blissfully unaware of Rick's growing suspicion, immerses herself in the shopping experience. The mall, for her, has always represented a sense of freedom, a place where she could unwind and enjoy the fruits of her hard work. Her popularity on social media stems largely from her genuine nature and passion for self-expression, especially through fashion. Many of her followers come from similar backgrounds and look to her for guidance and inspiration, as she often speaks about overcoming adversity, pushing past societal limitations, and embracing one's true self. Shopping, for Amara, is more than a pastime. It's an act of self-love, a celebration of her individuality, and a moment of peace amidst her busy schedule. But Rick's continued surveillance begins to impact her experience. At first, she notices him out of the corner of her eye, lingering near the entrance of a store or standing too close in an aisle. She dismisses it, attributing his presence to mere coincidence, but as she moves from one shop to the next, his consistent, watchful eyes unsettle her. She feels the familiar pang of unease, a reminder of past instances where her presence alone seemed to invoke suspicion. It's a feeling she had hoped to leave behind as she grew more confident in herself and her career, but here, in a public space where she should feel safe, the sting of judgment still finds its way to her. With every passing minute, the unease builds, her initial joy slowly fading into tension. She's aware of how others perceive her, especially in predominantly white, upscale areas. Yet, She reminds herself of her purpose, the hard work she's put into getting where she is, and her right to enjoy the space as any other shopper. Taking a deep breath, Amara pushes forward, determined not to let a stranger's scrutiny ruin her day. As Amara enters a high-end accessory store, the tension reaches a peak. She's holding a pair of sunglasses, admiring her reflection, when she notices Rick standing just a few feet away, staring intently. Her stomach tightens and her mind races. Should she confront him? Should she ask why he's following her? Part of her wants to, but another part reminds her of the potential backlash, the complications, the assumptions people might make. What if he accuses her of causing a scene? What if the situation escalates? She decides to leave the store, hoping he'll lose interest, but as she exits, he follows closely behind. The experience is now soured. Amara feels robbed of her own right to shop in peace, her space invaded by unjust scrutiny, all because of unspoken biases that she's too familiar with. She's reminded of the countless stories shared by others in her community about facing similar injustices. Her heart sinks, but she's resolved to handle the situation gracefully. Then, as if on cue, a fan spots her and rushes over, beaming with excitement. "Amara, I can't believe it's really you." The fan's voice carries, and a few other shoppers turn to look, some recognizing her, others simply curious. The fans' genuine admiration and joy catch Amara by surprise, providing a brief moment of comfort amid the discomfort. As they exchange a few words and take a photo together, the fans' recognition subtly shifts the atmosphere. Amara feels a sense of validation, a reminder of her impact and the community she's built. Meanwhile, Rick is taken aback. The enthusiastic interaction forces him to reevaluate his assumptions, his narrowed perception of Amara suddenly widening to include the possibility that she is someone significant, someone respected and admired. The realization is almost jarring. He hadn't considered that she could be more than just a suspicious shopper. The notion that she might be an influencer, someone with influence and reach, challenges the simplicity of his assumptions. As Amara and her fan wrap up their conversation, the fan expresses how much Amara's work has inspired her. She speaks of the confidence she's gained, the dreams she's now pursuing, all thanks to Amara's positive influence. This exchange, genuine and heartfelt, strikes a chord in both Amara and the onlookers around her, subtly redefining the narrative that had begun to unfold. The moment leaves Rick with an uncomfortable awareness. His own biases, once unexamined, now feel exposed, each unspoken prejudice brought into question by the light of Amara's real character and her impact. The experience unsettles him as he realizes that his behavior was based on assumptions rather than facts. For Amara, the interaction serves as a reminder of her strength and resilience, reaffirming her commitment to standing tall despite the challenges she faces. Yet, she also feels a weight, knowing that the change needed is far greater than what one positive interaction can achieve. As she watches the fan walk away, she decides to channel her emotions into her next post, determined to share her story and shed light on the prejudices she continues to face, even in spaces meant for leisure. She opens her phone and starts typing, knowing that her words have the power to spark a conversation, to challenge others, and to make a difference. And although the incident was painful, she's determined to use it as fuel for the very work that has defined her journey. As Amara walks away from her fan interaction, she can still feel the lingering weight of Rick's presence. Her heart, which had been warmed by the recognition and kind words from her supporter, now feels heavy again as she remembers the scrutinizing eyes that had followed her every move. She tries to refocus her mind, reminding herself of her purpose, of the importance of staying grounded in her strength. She's had to prove herself countless times to others and, more importantly, to herself. Yet today, the pressure feels particularly intense, as if each moment is being carefully judged, magnified under an unfair spotlight. Determined to continue, she walks into another store, trying to brush off Rick's presence. The clothes on the racks blur as she replays the scene in her head, the sudden realization of his surveillance, the brief moment of fear, and the hurt that settled in afterward. She catches her reflection in the store mirror, and in her own eyes, she sees a mix of determination and vulnerability. These conflicting emotions are all too familiar to her as a Black woman who has achieved success in spaces where she's sometimes made to feel out of place. This is part of her reality, one she's navigated with grace, but that still leaves its mark. After a moment of reflection, she raises her phone and begins recording a quick video message for her followers, addressing what just happened. Her voice is steady, although a hint of frustration seeps through. "Hey, everyone. I'm here at the Westwood Mall, just doing some shopping for my new collaboration. But I've got to share something with you all," she says, her tone calm but laced with an edge. She explains the surveillance she's been under since she entered the mall and how it makes her feel. She doesn't go into detail, keeping her words brief, yet her authenticity resonates through the screen. As her video begins to gain traction online, comments flood in almost immediately, many expressing support and disbelief at her experience. "Amara, stay strong," one follower writes. "You're a role model for so many of us. Thank you for speaking up." Another comment reads, "This is outrageous. In 2024, this shouldn't be happening. So sorry you had to go through this." The flood of responses gives Amara a momentary sense of validation, a reminder that her story is powerful and that her voice matters. But Amara isn't the only one noticing the growing response. Not far from her, another shopper named Lily, who had seen the fan approach Amara earlier, overhears a conversation between Rick and a fellow security officer. Rick is speaking in hushed tones, recounting his decision to keep an eye on her and how he hadn't anticipated that she might be someone with influence. The other guard nods, neither of them seemingly aware of the implications of their actions. Lily listens, frowning, realizing that the situation had been based entirely on assumptions rather than any wrongdoing. Unsettled, Lily opens her own social media feed, finding Amara's post trending within minutes. She decides to share the video herself, adding her own commentary. "I just witnessed this in person. A talented Black woman being unfairly followed and judged. This has to stop." Her post spreads, gaining traction as others echo her words, sharing and retweeting, sparking a conversation that quickly transcends the confines of the mall. Meanwhile, Amara receives messages from other influencers and public figures who have seen her post. Some are friends, others are supporters who understand the weight of what she's just experienced. They rally around her, sending messages of encouragement and pledging to bring more awareness to her story. Amara feels a rush of gratitude for the community that has always had her back, a network of individuals who understand the importance of her voice and the strength in her journey. As she reads through these messages, a mall manager approaches her, having been alerted to the situation by Rick and the increasing online response. He wears a practiced smile that Amara reads as a weak attempt at diffusing the situation without really addressing it. "Good afternoon, Miss Thompson," he begins, his tone overly polite. "We just wanted to ensure you're having a pleasant experience here. Is there anything we can do to make your shopping experience more enjoyable?" Amara raises an eyebrow, seeing through the thinly veiled attempt to pacify her. She considers her response carefully, aware of the onlookers who are now paying close attention, some recording videos on their phones, others whispering amongst themselves. She looks the manager in the eye, determined not to be silenced or placated. "I think what would make my experience more enjoyable is an explanation for why I was being followed by security while simply shopping," she says firmly. Her voice doesn't waver. Her words are clear and confident. The manager stammers, clearly unprepared for a direct confrontation. "Oh, there must have been a misunderstanding. Our security team, we are committed to ensuring the safety of all shoppers," he replies, fumbling over his words. He tries to maintain his composed facade, but his discomfort is evident. Amara holds her ground, her presence unyielding. She's aware that this moment is bigger than just her experience today. It's about standing up for her community, for others who have faced similar unjust treatment. "I understand that security is important," she responds. "But there's a difference between security and profiling. I was targeted because of an assumption, not because of my actions. And that assumption is rooted in bias, not fact." Her words resonate with those around her, and as the crowd grows, so does the pressure on the manager and the mall security team. Lily, the shopper who overheard Rick's conversation, steps forward, offering her own account of what she witnessed. She explains how she saw the security guard trailing Amara from store to store and how his suspicions seemed to be based purely on perception rather than any behavior. Rick, now standing nearby, looks visibly uncomfortable as Lily recounts her observations. He realizes the gravity of the situation, the narrative slipping out of his control as more voices join the conversation, condemning the unfair treatment Amara received. Each testimony underscores the reality of what happened, the collective voices painting a clear picture of the systemic bias that drove Rick's actions. As the situation escalates, the mall's management team scrambles to address the growing backlash. They know that Amara's influence and the public support she's garnered have shifted the power dynamic, making it impossible to ignore the consequences of their actions. Within hours, the incident spreads across social media, sparking a national conversation about racial profiling and the harmful effects of unconscious bias in public spaces. For Amara, the experience is bittersweet. On one hand, she's relieved to see people rallying around her, using her story to advocate for change. But on the other hand, she feels the weight of a familiar burden, a reminder that her existence in certain spaces is still questioned, still judged. She grapples with a mix of emotions, feeling both validated and weary, empowered by her platform, yet drained by the constant need to defend her humanity. Her followers, however, remind her of the impact she's making. Messages flood her inbox, many sharing their own experiences with discrimination, others expressing gratitude for her bravery. "You're a role model, Amara," one follower writes. "Seeing you stand up for yourself gives me hope." Another message reads, "Thank you for speaking out. People need to see this to understand what we go through." As the day unfolds, Amara watches the ripple effect of her story reach beyond her immediate circle. Media outlets pick up the incident, reporters reaching out for statements, eager to cover the unfolding narrative. Public figures, activists, and influencers share their own thoughts on the incident, amplifying Amara's voice and bringing greater awareness to the issue of racial profiling in commercial spaces. Through it all, Amara remains steadfast, her resolve strengthened by the support of her community. She realizes that while the experience was painful, it has given her a powerful platform to address issues that affect so many. Her story has resonated because it's a shared struggle, one that transcends her personal experience and speaks to the systemic challenges faced by countless others. Reflecting on the day, she feels a renewed sense of purpose. She knows that the fight against discrimination is far from over, but she's inspired by the progress she's witnessed, the conversations sparked by her courage to speak out. As she prepares to leave the mall, she takes one last look at the familiar space, now forever altered in her memory. A reminder of both the prejudice she faced and the power she holds to effect change. In this extended version, Section 2 explores Amara's growing awareness of the impact of her voice and the reaction of those around her. The collective response builds momentum for the story, setting the stage for the wider ripple effect her experience will have in the subsequent sections. This longer exploration adds depth to the emotional arc and the social dynamics that contribute to her narrative. In the days following the incident at the mall, Amara finds herself at the center of a whirlwind of attention. The video she posted, detailing her experience with security, has gone viral. Social media platforms are buzzing with reactions, support pouring in from all corners of the internet. The hashtags #JusticeForAmara and #EndRacialProfiling trend on Twitter, igniting discussions that reach far beyond the confines of the Westwood Mall. As more people share their own stories of racial profiling, a collective consciousness begins to form around the urgent need for change. Amara sits at her desk, surrounded by her laptop, phone, and a mountain of messages. She's grateful for the support, but overwhelmed by the sheer volume of it. Messages come flooding in from fans, fellow influencers, activists, and even journalists who want to interview her. Each notification brings with it a mix of excitement and anxiety. She takes a deep breath, reminding herself that she is more than just a figure in a viral video. She's a voice for those who have felt the sting of bias and discrimination. Amara decides to hold a live stream to address her followers, giving them an update on what's been happening since the mall incident. She wants to maintain transparency and keep the conversation alive. As she sets up her phone, her heart races. This is her chance to share not just her story, but to spotlight the broader issues at play. The moment she hits go live, she's met with a flood of comments and hearts popping up on her screen. Hey, everyone! I just wanted to take a moment to chat about everything that's been going on since the mall incident. She begins, her voice steady yet passionate. She recounts the moments of feeling followed, the shock of being scrutinized, and the overwhelming support she's received. Amara emphasizes the importance of using her platform to advocate for change, encouraging her followers to speak up about their own experiences and join the conversation. Throughout the stream, she answers questions and interacts with her audience, who eagerly engage with her. What do you think needs to change in store? Yes, one viewer asks. Amara pauses for a moment, contemplating the question. I think we need to recognize that everyone deserves respect and dignity, regardless of their appearance, she replies. Stores need to train their staff to treat all customers equally and ensure that policies don't allow for racial profiling. As her stream continues, Amara feels a growing sense of responsibility. She recognizes that her voice can inspire action, that she can be a catalyst for change. By the end of the live session, she's garnered thousands of new followers, many of whom express their gratitude for her courage and authenticity. The response is electric, and for the first time, Amara feels the weight of her influence, a power that can challenge systems of oppression and encourage others to rise alongside her. Meanwhile, the management at Westwood Mall is forced to reckon with the backlash stemming from the incident. The viral nature of Amara's experience has drawn media attention, with reporters flocking to the mall for interviews and statements. The mall's management realizes that they must respond swiftly and effectively to mitigate the damage done to their reputation. They know that ignoring the issue will not only damage their standing with customers, but also lead to potential protests and calls for boycotts. The mall manager, feeling the heat, organizes an emergency meeting with the security team. We need to address this situation immediately, he says, standing at the head of the conference table, surrounded by security personnel and other management staff. The video has gone viral, and we cannot allow our security protocols to be associated with racial profiling. We must reassess our training and policies. Rick sits at the table, visibly uncomfortable. The weight of the scrutiny falls heavily on him as he recalls his decision to follow Amara and how it stemmed from bias rather than legitimate concern. The manager turns to him, seeking insight on how the security team can improve their practices. Rick, can you tell us what led you to follow her? He asks. The room falls silent as everyone awaits Rick's response. Rick clears his throat, his cheeks flushing. Honestly, I just assumed. I didn't think much about it at the time, he admits, the truth finally spilling from his lips. I saw a young black woman shopping alone, and I thought it looked suspicious. I didn't mean for it to come off as profiling, but I guess it did. His admission hangs in the air, a moment of reckoning not just for him, but for everyone in the room. The manager nods, acknowledging the flaw in their approach. This is a wake-up call for us, he says, turning to the rest of the security team. We need to implement bias training immediately, and we have to make sure our staff understands the importance of treating all customers with respect. We cannot operate under assumptions. We have to be vigilant but fair. With that, the team begins brainstorming ways to improve their protocols. They discuss incorporating diversity training sessions, focusing on cultural sensitivity, and establishing clear guidelines for customer interactions. The goal is to ensure that security personnel are not just enforcing rules, but are also creating an environment where all shoppers feel safe and welcomed. As Amara's story continues to circulate, local news stations pick up the narrative, inviting her to share her experience on talk shows and podcasts. She is excited but nervous, understanding that her voice has the potential to influence many. When she receives an invitation to speak on a nationally broadcast show, she can hardly contain her enthusiasm. It's a chance to reach an even wider audience, to amplify her message about racial profiling and the need for systemic change. The night before the show, She sits down with her friend, Mia, who has been her rock throughout this journey. "Mia, what if I mess up?" Amara admits, feeling the weight of expectation. "What if I say something that doesn't come across the way I want it to?" Mia smiles reassuringly. "You're going to be amazing. Just be yourself. Speak from your heart. People are listening because they want to hear your truth." Amara takes a deep breath, reminding herself that her experiences matter and that she has the power to inspire change. On the day of the show, Amara arrives at the studio, her heart racing with excitement. The bright lights and bustling crew bring the reality of her situation into focus. As she walks onto the set, she is greeted by the host, a well-known figure in the media who has a reputation for tackling social issues. They exchange pleasantries before the cameras roll, and Amara can feel the weight of the moment. The host introduces her, detailing the viral video and the conversations it has sparked across the country. As Amara begins to speak, she feels the nerves start to dissipate, replaced by a surge of confidence. "Thank you for having me," she begins, her voice steady. "I want to share my story because it's not just about me. It's about so many individuals who have faced discrimination and profiling in their everyday lives." She shares the details of the incident at the mall, describing the moments of fear and frustration, but also the overwhelming support that followed. She speaks candidly about the impact of her experience and the importance of speaking out against injustice. Her words flow with authenticity, resonating deeply with the audience both in the studio and at home. As she finishes her segment, the applause rings in her ears, and Amara feels a swell of gratitude. She's aware that her platform has grown exponentially, but more importantly, she realizes that her voice is becoming a beacon for others who feel marginalized and silenced. She leaves the studio with a renewed sense of purpose, understanding that her journey has only just begun. Back at Westwood Mall, the management implements changes based on Amara's experience. The security team undergoes bias training, and the mall launches a campaign promoting inclusivity and respect for all customers. They introduce initiatives like community engagement events, aiming to foster relationships between security staff and shoppers, ensuring that everyone feels seen and valued. As the weeks pass, Amara continues to engage with her followers, sharing updates on the mall's progress and encouraging them to share their own stories of resilience. The conversation around racial profiling evolves, with many individuals taking to social media to hold businesses accountable for their practices. The ripple effect of Amara's experience creates a movement, igniting discussions in schools, workplaces, and communities about the importance of recognizing bias and advocating for change. One day, while browsing through her social media feed, Amara sees a post from a high school student named Jordan, who shares his own experience of being followed in a store. He expresses his frustration and the fear he felt when he was unjustly targeted. Moved by his story, Amara reaches out to him, offering words of encouragement and inviting him to join her for a discussion on racial profiling. Together, they host a live session, discussing their experiences and the need for systemic change. The response from their followers is overwhelming, with many sharing their stories and expressing gratitude for the safe space Amara and Jordan have created. This moment reinforces her belief that while her experience was painful, it has opened doors for others to share their voices and advocate for justice. As Amara prepares for an upcoming speaking engagement at a local university, she reflects on how far she's come since the incident at the mall. She realizes that the journey is ongoing, but each step forward is a victory. The challenges she faces only fuel her determination to continue speaking out, to fight for equality and understanding in every space she occupies. Amara knows that change won't happen overnight, but she's committed to being part of the solution. As she steps onto the stage to address the audience, she feels a sense of empowerment. Her voice, once silenced by fear, now resonates with clarity and purpose. She is ready to embrace her role as a changemaker, inspiring others to join her in the fight against injustice. The story of Amara is not just about one incident. It's a narrative of resilience, empowerment, and the collective movement for change. Through her experience, she highlights the urgent need for society to confront the issues of racial profiling and bias. As her influence continues to grow, Amara remains steadfast in her mission to create a world where everyone is treated with respect and dignity, regardless of their appearance. In the aftermath of Amara's experience at the mall, the issue of racial profiling takes center stage in public discourse. News outlets, blogs, and social media platforms are ablaze with conversations about the implicit biases that continue to plague society. The hashtag end racial profiling becomes a rallying cry, uniting individuals from diverse backgrounds to share their experiences and advocate for change. The sheer volume of stories shared by people of color from various walks of life highlights a pervasive problem that has been swept under the rug for far too long. As Amara continues to engage with her audience, she realizes that her role as an influencer extends beyond fashion and lifestyle. She now has the power to shape conversations around social justice. With every post, every live stream, and every interview, she seeks to educate her followers about the nuances of racial bias, the importance of allyship, and the necessity of systemic change. She recognizes that her platform can serve as a conduit for marginalized voices, amplifying their stories and experiences. One evening, Amara sits down with Mia, her best friend and confidant, to brainstorm ways to leverage her influence for good. "We need to create something that goes beyond just talking," Amara says, her brow furrowed in thought. "I want to turn this moment into a movement. What if we organized a rally or a workshop to discuss these issues more deeply?"
Mia nods enthusiastically.
"That's a great idea. We could invite speakers, host discussions, and even have a space for people to share their stories. It could really help people feel connected and empowered." With renewed energy, Amara begins planning a community event called Voices for Change. She envisions it as a safe space where individuals can come together to discuss their experiences with racial profiling and discrimination. Amara reaches out to local activists, educators, and community leaders, inviting them to participate in the event as speakers and panelists. She promotes the event on her social media channels, emphasizing the need for dialogue and understanding. As the event date approaches, excitement builds within the community. Amara receives messages from individuals eager to share their stories and contribute to the conversation. On the day of the event, the venue is filled with a diverse crowd, young and old, students and professionals, allies and advocates. The atmosphere is charged with anticipation as attendees mingle and share their personal experiences. Amara takes the stage to kick off the event, her heart pounding with a mix of nerves and determination. "Thank you all for being here today," she begins, her voice resonating through the room. "We're here to talk about something that affects all of us, racial profiling and the biases that persist in our society. It's time to confront these issues head-on and create a world where everyone is treated with dignity and respect." She introduces the speakers, each of whom shares powerful stories of their own encounters with racial profiling. One speaker, a local teacher named Mr. Thompson, recounts a time when he was followed in a store simply because of his appearance. "I was there to buy school supplies for my students," he says, his voice steady. "But the staff watched me like I was a criminal. It was dehumanizing." Another panelist, a college student named Aisha, shares her experience of being stopped by the police while driving home from a late-night study session. "I was terrified," she recalls. "All I could think about was how quickly things could escalate, just because of the color of my skin." As the speakers share their narratives, the audience listens intently, nodding in solidarity. There's a palpable sense of connection in the room, a shared understanding of the pain and frustration that comes with being subjected to bias. Amara watches as people lean forward in their seats, captivated by the stories unfolding before them. After the panel, the event transitions into smaller breakout sessions where attendees can discuss their experiences and brainstorm solutions. Amara joins one of the groups, listening to individuals share their thoughts on how to combat racial profiling in everyday life. "We need to educate ourselves and others," one participant suggests. "Knowledge is power, and we have to challenge our own biases." As the conversation unfolds, Amara feels a sense of hope. The commitment to change is palpable, and she knows that conversations like these are vital in reshaping societal attitudes. She encourages the group to think about actionable steps they can take in their communities, Whether it's advocating for policy changes, organizing workshops, or simply speaking out when they witness discrimination. Throughout the event, Amara also takes the time to engage with attendees one-on-one. She listens to their stories, offers words of encouragement, and discusses how they can leverage their own platforms, no matter how big or small, to affect change. Every voice matters, she tells a young woman named Keisha, who expresses her desire to raise awareness among her peers. You never know who you might inspire. As the day draws to a close, Amara feels a profound sense of accomplishment. The event has sparked meaningful conversations and connections, and she can see the impact it has made in the community. She thanks everyone for their participation and emphasizes the importance of continuing the dialogue beyond this gathering. Let's keep the momentum going, she urges. This is just the beginning. In the weeks that follow, the discussions initiated at Voices for Change continue to resonate throughout the community. Attendees share their experiences on social media, expressing gratitude for the safe space and encouraging others to speak out against bias. The event has ignited a fire within many, prompting them to take action in their own lives. Amara becomes increasingly involved in advocacy work, collaborating with local organizations dedicated to combating racial profiling and promoting inclusivity. She joins forces with a nonprofit focused on education and outreach, developing programs aimed at raising awareness about bias in retail and other public spaces. Together, they create workshops for businesses, equipping employees with the tools to recognize and combat racial profiling. As the nonprofit gains traction, Amara takes the opportunity to use her influence to amplify their efforts. She shares updates on her social media channels, highlighting the importance of education and training in combating bias. Her followers respond enthusiastically, engaging with the content and sharing it within their networks. The growing movement catches the attention of local media outlets, and Amara finds herself invited to speak at various events and panels. With each opportunity, she shares her message of empowerment, urging individuals to take a stand against discrimination and to advocate for those who have been silenced. Her words resonate deeply, inspiring others to recognize their own privilege and the importance of allyship. As the movement continues to gain momentum, Amara is invited to participate in a national conference focused on racial justice and equity. She's honored to be among prominent speakers and activists, sharing the stage with individuals who have dedicated their lives to fighting for justice. When her turn to speak arrives, she takes a deep breath and steps up to the microphone. Thank you for this incredible opportunity to share my story, Amara begins, her voice steady and clear. What started as a personal experience has evolved into a collective movement. We must confront racial profiling in all its forms and advocate for a society where everyone is treated with respect and dignity. Her speech resonates with the audience, and as she shares her journey, she emphasizes the importance of education, advocacy, and community engagement. Change starts with us, she declares. We all have a role to play in dismantling the systems of oppression that have held us back for far too long. It's time for us to unite and create a world where diversity is celebrated and everyone feels safe and valued. After her speech, attendees approach Amara to express their appreciation for her vulnerability and authenticity. Many share their own experiences, thanking her for giving them the courage to speak out. Amara leaves the conference feeling inspired and motivated to continue her advocacy work, knowing that the ripple effect of her actions can lead to significant change. Back at home, Amara reflects on her journey thus far. What began as an incident of racial profiling has transformed into a movement for justice and equity. She understands that the road ahead will be challenging, but she remains committed to the cause. The connections she's made, the stories she's heard, and the voices she's amplified have all fueled her passion for change. As she prepares for her next steps, Amara is reminded of the power of individual experiences to drive systemic change. She understands that while her platform has grown, it's essential to remain grounded in her mission, to create a world where everyone is treated fairly and equitably. With a renewed sense of purpose, she embraces the challenges ahead, ready to continue fighting for justice and inspiring others along the way. In the months following the Voices for Change event, The momentum Amara has built continues to evolve, sparking significant transformations within the local community and beyond. The mall, which once epitomized the biases that Amara and others have fought against, begins to take actionable steps towards reform. Management, recognizing the public outcry and the negative attention their security practices have garnered, initiates a series of changes aimed at fostering a more inclusive environment. The mall's leadership reaches out to Amara and her team for guidance, eager to implement strategies that will prevent future incidents of racial profiling. We want to learn from this experience and ensure our policies reflect our commitment to diversity and inclusion, the mall manager explains during a meeting with Amara. We recognize that change is necessary, and we want your input on how to make it happen. Amara, aware of the importance of collaboration, embraces this opportunity with enthusiasm. She suggests organizing training sessions for mall security and staff, focusing on diversity, equity, and implicit bias. The idea is to equip employees with the knowledge and tools necessary to recognize and combat their biases while ensuring that all shoppers feel respected and valued. As plans for the training sessions take shape, Amara and her team work closely with experts in diversity training. They develop a comprehensive program that addresses the root causes of bias and emphasizes the importance of empathy and understanding. This training isn't just about changing behaviors, it's about changing mindsets, Amara explains to her team. We want to create a culture of respect within the mall. The first training session is scheduled to take place in the mall's community room, and Amara feels a mix of excitement and apprehension. She understands that for lasting change to occur, the participants must be willing to engage in difficult conversations and confront their biases head-on. It's important that they leave this session feeling empowered to create a positive change, she tells the trainers. On the day of the training, security staff and employees from various stores gather, some looking skeptical while others appear eager to learn. Amara opens the session by sharing her personal story and the incident that sparked the movement. She speaks candidly about her feelings of fear and frustration, highlighting how that moment became a catalyst for change. This isn't just my story. It's the story of many people who have been treated unfairly because of their appearance, she emphasizes. As the training progresses, participants engage in role-playing exercises that illustrate the impact of implicit bias. They discuss scenarios in which bias might affect their interactions with customers, learning how to recognize and challenge their assumptions. Amara watches as the participants gradually open up, sharing their experiences and perspectives. It's clear that the training is resonating, fostering a deeper understanding of the issues at hand. Throughout the sessions, Amara emphasizes the importance of empathy. We must put ourselves in others' shoes and understand how our actions can affect them, she stresses. Creating an inclusive environment starts with each of us taking responsibility for our behavior. The participants nod in agreement, some even taking notes as they absorb her words. By the end of the training, Amara feels a sense of accomplishment. The participants express their gratitude for the opportunity to learn and grow, and many commit to implementing the lessons they've learned. This was eye-opening, one security officer admits. I never realized how my actions could contribute to someone feeling unsafe in our mall. As the weeks progress, the mall begins to see positive changes. Shoppers express their appreciation for the more welcoming atmosphere, and the security team becomes increasingly proactive in ensuring that all customers feel respected. Feedback from patrons reflects a growing awareness of the importance of inclusivity, and many express their gratitude for the mall's efforts to combat bias. Amara continues to collaborate with the mall, hosting follow-up sessions and workshops to reinforce the training. She knows that change doesn't happen overnight, and that ongoing education is essential for creating a lasting impact. Each session draws more participants, as employees from different stores join in to learn about the importance of diversity and inclusion in retail. The success of the training sessions catches the attention of other malls in the area, leading to requests for Amara to share her program with them. She eagerly accepts these invitations, recognizing the opportunity to expand the movement and create a ripple effect in the community. If we can make this change in one mall, imagine the impact we can have across multiple locations, she tells her team, fueled by her passion for advocacy. As she travels to different malls to conduct training sessions, Amara reflects on how far she has come since that fateful day in the mall. What began as a moment of injustice has transformed into a powerful movement for change. She is grateful for the support of her community and the individuals who have rallied around the cause. Their collective voices have created a powerful momentum that continues to drive the movement forward. Despite her busy schedule, Amara remains committed to her role as an influencer. She continues to share updates on social media, highlighting the progress being made in various malls and the importance of ongoing advocacy. Her followers respond with enthusiasm, often sharing their own stories of positive change in their communities. The dialogue around racial profiling and bias continues to grow, and Amara's influence plays a significant role in shaping the conversation. In one particularly impactful post, Amara shares a video of her recent training session at a neighboring mall. In it, she emphasizes the importance of empathy and understanding. Together, we can create a world where everyone feels safe and respected, she says, her words resonating deeply with her audience. The video garners thousands of views and ignites discussions about the need for similar initiatives in other communities. As Amara navigates her advocacy work, she also faces challenges. There are moments of pushback from individuals who resist change or dismiss the importance of addressing racial bias. On one occasion, she receives negative comments on a post where she discusses the need for equity in retail spaces. Rather than discouraging her, these reactions only strengthen her resolve. If we want to see change, we have to be willing to confront difficult conversations, she reminds herself. Amara reaches out to her support network, seeking advice and encouragement from fellow activists and friends. Together, they brainstorm strategies for engaging with those who are resistant to change, emphasizing the need for open dialogue and understanding. We can't force anyone to change their mindset, but we can offer them the tools to understand why it's important, one friend suggests. Armed with this perspective, Amara decides to host an open forum at the mall, inviting community members to engage in conversations about racial bias. The event aims to provide a space for individuals to share their thoughts and experiences while promoting understanding. It's time for us to listen to each other and learn from one another, she says in her promotional materials. The forum draws a diverse crowd, people of different ages, backgrounds, and perspectives. Amara opens the floor for discussions, encouraging attendees to express their feelings and experiences. Some share stories of their encounters with bias, while others discuss their perspectives as allies. As the conversations unfold, it becomes clear that many attendees are eager to learn and grow. One participant, a middle-aged white man, speaks up during a particularly poignant moment. "I never realized how my assumptions have impacted others," he admits, visibly moved. "This conversation has opened my eyes, and I want to be a better ally." The group applauds his vulnerability, and Amara smiles, recognizing the power of these discussions to create meaningful change. The forum proves to be a turning point for many attendees, fostering a sense of unity and understanding among participants. They leave with a renewed commitment to advocate for change within their communities, inspired by the collective determination to confront bias and promote inclusivity. Amara feels a profound sense of fulfillment, knowing that she has played a role in facilitating these important conversations. As Amara continues her advocacy work, she remains grounded in her mission to create a world where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. The connections she's forged and the stories she's heard have shaped her understanding of the challenges individuals face, reinforcing her commitment to be a voice for those who have been silenced. In her journey, Amara learns that the road to change is often fraught with challenges, but it is also filled with moments of connection, growth, and empowerment. Each conversation, each event, and each story shared adds to the tapestry of the movement, illustrating the importance of collective action in the fight against bias. As she looks ahead to the future, Amara is filled with hope. She knows that while the journey may be long, the efforts of individuals committed to change can create a lasting impact. With every step she takes, she strives to inspire others to join her in the fight for justice, equality, and a world where diversity is celebrated. As Amara's advocacy efforts gain traction, her influence begins to extend far beyond the mall. Her social media presence evolves into a powerful platform for discussion and education around racial bias and social justice. With each post, she not only shares her personal experiences, but also highlights the stories of others who have faced discrimination, creating a space for dialogue and empowerment. Recognizing the need for broader conversations about race and equity, Amara begins to collaborate with local organizations and community leaders. Together, they organize a series of workshops and panels aimed at addressing systemic racism and promoting inclusivity. We need to create a network of support where our voices can be amplified, Amara explains during one of the planning meetings. By working together, we can reach more people and affect real change in our communities. The first workshop, titled Understanding Implicit Bias, is held at a local community center. Amara curates a diverse panel of speakers, including educators, activists, and mental health professionals, to address the multifaceted nature of bias and its impact on individuals and communities. The event draws a large audience, with attendees eager to engage in meaningful discussions. Amara opens the workshop with her story, recounting the incident at the mall and how it galvanized her to take action. My experience is just one of many. We all have stories, and it's through sharing them that we can begin to heal and create change, she shares, setting a tone of openness and vulnerability. Throughout the workshop, panelists discuss the nuances of implicit bias, providing insights into its origins and manifestations. They emphasize the importance of self-reflection and the need to confront one's biases head-on. Acknowledging our biases is the first step toward dismantling them, one panelist, a psychologist specializing in racial trauma, states. The audience nods in agreement, visibly engaged in the conversation. As the workshop progresses, Amara encourages attendees to share their own experiences with bias. One participant, a young Black woman, speaks up, recounting her experiences in the workplace where she often felt underestimated. It's exhausting to have to prove myself constantly just because of the color of my skin, she admits, her voice shaking with emotion. Amara listens intently, offering support and affirming the importance of sharing such stories. You're not alone in this. Many of us have faced similar challenges, she responds. The workshop becomes a safe space for dialogue, fostering connections among attendees. Participants exchange contact information, forming a network of support that extends beyond the event. Amara feels a sense of accomplishment, knowing that she has created an environment where individuals feel empowered to share their truths and learn from one another. In the following weeks, the workshops gain popularity, leading to requests for additional sessions. Amara and her team eagerly accept the challenge, determined to continue the conversation around bias and inclusivity. Each workshop builds on the previous one, addressing various themes such as allyship, the importance of representation, and strategies for advocacy. One of the most impactful workshops is centered on allyship, where participants learn how to support marginalized communities effectively. Amara invites local leaders who have successfully navigated their own journeys of allyship to share their insights. Being an ally isn't just about saying the right things. It's about taking action and using your privilege to uplift others, one speaker emphasizes. As the workshops unfold, Amara notices a shift in the community's mindset. Conversations about bias and equity become more common, and individuals begin to challenge discriminatory practices within their own circles. Amara receives messages from attendees who have taken steps to address bias in their workplaces and schools, showcasing the ripple effect of their collective efforts. Emboldened by the positive feedback, Amara decides to launch a social media campaign titled Every Voice Matters. The campaign aims to spotlight individuals from diverse backgrounds, showcasing their stories and contributions to the community. We need to celebrate the richness of our diversity and remind people that every voice deserves to be heard, she states as she outlines the campaign's goals. Amara uses her platform to share these stories, highlighting local heroes, artists, activists, and everyday individuals who are making a difference. She encourages followers to submit their own stories, creating a sense of community and inclusivity. The hashtag #EveryVoiceMatters begins to trend, garnering attention from local media outlets and inspiring others to join the movement. As the campaign gains momentum, Amara organizes a community event to culminate the initiative. The Every Voice Matters celebration is set to take place in a local park, featuring performances, art displays, and storytelling sessions. Amara envisions the event as a way to bring the community together, fostering a sense of unity while celebrating the diverse voices that make it vibrant. In the weeks leading up to the event, Amara works tirelessly to coordinate logistics, reach out to performers, and promote the celebration. She is thrilled to see the community rally around the event, with local businesses offering support through sponsorships and donations. This is what community looks like, coming together to celebrate our shared humanity, she says, feeling energized by the collective effort. On the day of the event, the park is transformed into a lively celebration of culture and diversity. Colorful banners hang from trees, and local vendors set up booths to showcase their crafts and cuisine. Amara stands at the entrance, greeting attendees with a smile, filled with gratitude for the overwhelming turnout. As the event kicks off, Amara takes the stage to welcome everyone. Today, we celebrate each other's stories, our unique experiences, and the strength we find in our diversity, she declares, her voice ringing with conviction. The crowd cheers, a palpable energy filling the air. Throughout the day, performers share their talents, from musicians to dancers to poets, each bringing their unique voice to the stage. Amara watches in awe as community members cheer for one another, creating an atmosphere of acceptance and celebration. The event fosters connections among attendees, bridging gaps and encouraging conversations that continue well beyond the celebration. One of the highlights of the event is the storytelling session, where individuals from the community share their experiences of overcoming adversity and championing change. Amara invites a young woman named Leah, who has become an advocate for mental health awareness in the Black community, to share her journey. For too long, we've been told to stay silent about our struggles, Leah states passionately. Today, I want to remind you that your story matters. Speak up, and let's break the stigma together. The audience responds with applause, and Amara feels a deep sense of fulfillment. She recognizes that these stories are not just individual experiences, they represent the collective resilience of the community. The celebration becomes a catalyst for further advocacy, inspiring attendees to take action in their own lives. As the event draws to a close, Amara takes a moment to reflect on the impact of the Every Voice Matters initiative. The campaign has not only amplified diverse voices, but has also fostered a deeper understanding of the issues facing marginalized communities. She realizes that this is just the beginning of a long journey toward creating systemic change. In the aftermath of the event, Amara receives messages of gratitude from attendees who felt seen and heard for the first time. Many expressed their desire to continue advocating for equity and justice in their own lives. Amara recognizes the importance of nurturing this newfound energy and commitment to change. Inspired by the success of the event, Amara decides to launch a mentorship program aimed at empowering young leaders in the community. She envisions a space where youth can develop their leadership skills, learn about advocacy, and connect with mentors who can guide them on their journeys. We must invest in the next generation and equip them with the tools to effect change, she tells her team. The mentorship program, named Empowered, is designed to provide young people with opportunities to engage in community service, attend workshops, and participate in leadership training. Amara reaches out to local schools and youth organizations to promote the program, eager to involve as many young individuals as possible. As applications pour in, Amara feels a sense of excitement. She carefully reviews each application, selecting a diverse group of young leaders who demonstrate a passion for advocacy and a commitment to social change. The inaugural cohort of Empowered kicks off with an orientation session where Amara emphasizes the importance of their work. You are the future leaders of our community, she tells the group. Your voices matter, and together, you can make a difference. Throughout the program, Amara serves as a mentor, guiding the young leaders as they navigate their own advocacy journeys. They engage in discussions about current issues, brainstorm ideas for community projects, and learn about effective communication strategies. Amara encourages them to think critically and challenge the status quo, reinforcing the idea that they have the power to create change. As the program progresses, the young leaders embark on a community project aimed at addressing food insecurity in their neighborhood. They partner with local organizations to host a food drive, gathering donations to distribute to families in need. Amara is proud to see her men's take the initiative, organizing logistics, promoting the drive, and mobilizing their peers. The food drive is a resounding success, demonstrating the impact that young leaders can have when they work together. Families in the community express their gratitude, and the young leaders gain invaluable experience in organizing and advocating for a cause they care about. Amara watches with pride as her men grow in confidence and commitment to making a difference. As the mentorship program flourishes, Amara recognizes the importance of sharing the success stories with the broader community. She organizes an end-of-program celebration to showcase the young leaders' achievements, inviting families, community members, and local media to attend. We want to highlight the incredible work these young advocates have done, Amara explains to her team, brimming with enthusiasm. During the celebration, the young leaders present their community project, sharing their experiences and the impact it made. Amara beams with pride as she listens to them speak passionately about their work. "This is just the beginning," one young leader states. "We're committed to continuing our advocacy and addressing the issues in our community." The celebration resonates with attendees, inspiring others to get involved and support the next generation of advocates. Amara feels a deep sense of purpose, knowing that her efforts have not only created space for important conversations, but have also empowered others to take action. As Amara looks to the future, she envisions expanding her advocacy work beyond the local community. She dreams of connecting with other activists and organizations across the country to share resources and strategies for addressing systemic racism. "We have the potential to create a national movement that demands change," she asserts, determination evident in her voice. In the coming months, Amara collaborates with other advocates to launch an online platform for sharing resources and best practices for community organizing. The platform serves as a hub for individuals seeking to make a difference, offering tools, guides, and support for advocacy initiatives. Amara is excited to see the ripple effect of their work, envisioning a network of passionate individuals united in their mission for social justice. As Amara reflects on her journey, she acknowledges the challenges she has faced but feels an overwhelming sense of hope. She knows that the road to systemic change is long and filled with obstacles, but she remains steadfast in her commitment to the cause. "We will continue to fight for our voices to be heard, for our stories to be told, and for justice to prevail," she declares, ready to embrace the next chapter of her advocacy journey. Through her dedication and resilience, Amara not only amplifies her own voice but also empowers countless others to join the fight for equity and justice. As the community rallies around her message, the movement for change gains momentum, paving the way for a brighter, more inclusive future for all. As Amara continues her advocacy journey, she reflects on the profound changes that have taken place since the incident at the mall. What began as a personal experience of discrimination has transformed into a community-wide movement for equity and justice. The workshops, campaigns, and mentorship programs she has initiated have sparked conversations that extend beyond her immediate circle, resonating with individuals and organizations nationwide. One of the most significant outcomes of Amara's work is the establishment of a community coalition focused on addressing racial bias and promoting inclusivity. Comprised of local activists, educators, business owners, and residents, the coalition serves as a platform for collaboration and action. Amara takes on a leadership role within the group, facilitating meetings and strategizing initiatives that align with their mission. During a coalition meeting, Amara emphasizes the importance of continued dialogue. "We must create a space where everyone feels safe to share their experiences and perspectives," she states. "Only then can we identify the systemic issues that need to be addressed." The coalition members agree, recognizing that open communication is key to fostering understanding and unity. In the months that follow, the coalition initiates a series of community forums designed to address specific issues related to racial bias and inequality. These forums provide residents with the opportunity to voice their concerns, share experiences, and collaborate on solutions. Amara is inspired by the turnout, as individuals from diverse backgrounds come together to engage in meaningful conversations. At one forum, A local business owner shares her experiences of facing bias in the retail industry. I've seen firsthand how assumptions based on race can affect not just individuals, but entire communities, she explains, her voice filled with emotion. Amara nods in agreement, encouraging the audience to consider the broader implications of these experiences. We need to support one another and challenge these biases wherever they arise, she asserts. As the coalition grows, Amara realizes the importance of incorporating education into their initiatives. She reaches out to local schools, advocating for the integration of social justice education into the curriculum. We need to equip our youth with the tools to understand and combat bias, she explains during a meeting with school administrators. By starting these conversations early, we can foster a more inclusive generation. The school district responds positively to Amara's proposal, launching a pilot program focused on social justice education in several schools. The program includes workshops, discussions, and projects that encourage students to explore issues of race, privilege, and allyship. Amara feels a sense of accomplishment as she witnesses students actively engaging in these topics, challenging their own biases, and advocating for their peers. However, Amara's journey is not without challenges. As her advocacy work gains visibility, she encounters backlash from individuals resistant to discussions about race and equity. Some community members express their discomfort with the topics being addressed, questioning the necessity of such conversations. Amara acknowledges these challenges, reminding herself of the importance of perseverance. In response to the backlash, Amara organizes a series of listening sessions, inviting individuals with differing viewpoints to share their concerns in a respectful environment. We cannot create change without understanding all perspectives, she emphasizes during the sessions. By fostering open dialogue, Amara aims to bridge gaps and dispel misconceptions surrounding discussions of race. The listening sessions prove to be valuable opportunities for connection and understanding. Participants are encouraged to share their experiences and fears, creating a space for empathy and growth. Amara facilitates these discussions with grace, emphasizing the need for compassion and understanding. Our goal is not to change minds, but to encourage conversations, she explains. Through these sessions, Amara begins to notice a shift in attitudes. Some attendees express gratitude for the opportunity to share their perspectives, and others acknowledge their privilege and commit to becoming allies. I didn't realize how much I was blind to these issues until today, one participant admits, her voice filled with sincerity. Amara feels hopeful, knowing that these conversations are paving the way for deeper understanding. As the coalition continues its work, Amara decides to focus on youth engagement through the Empowered program. Recognizing the importance of empowering young advocates, she expands the program to include opportunities for community service, leadership training, and advocacy initiatives. The youth are our future leaders, and we must invest in their development, she affirms during a planning session with her team. Amara collaborates with local schools to integrate the Empowered program into their extracurricular activities. The initiative becomes a source of pride for students, many of whom eagerly participate in advocacy projects that resonate with their interests. From organizing community cleanups to hosting awareness campaigns, these young leaders are making their voices heard. The success of the Empowered program leads to its recognition at a regional level, attracting attention from other communities looking to replicate its model. Amara is invited to speak at conferences and events, sharing her experiences and insights with a wider audience. She uses these platforms to emphasize the importance of grassroots activism and community engagement. I believe that change starts at the local level, Amara states during one conference. When individuals come together to address issues that affect them, they can create powerful movements that ripple outwards. Her words resonate with attendees, many of whom are inspired to take action in their own communities. As Amara continues her advocacy work, she finds solace in the connections she has built within the coalition and through the Empowered program. Together, they celebrate milestones and victories, no matter how small. Amara knows that every step forward is a testament to the resilience and determination of those who believe in a more equitable future. However, she also recognizes that the fight against discrimination is ongoing. The coalition faces challenges from time to time, including resistance from local authorities and community members unwilling to acknowledge the need for change. Amara remains steadfast, knowing that progress is often met with resistance. Change is uncomfortable, but it's necessary, she reminds her fellow advocates. To sustain momentum, Amara strategizes ways to broaden the coalition's reach. She proposes collaborating with neighboring communities to create a regional network focused on social justice advocacy. By joining forces, we can amplify our message and create a stronger impact, she suggests during a coalition meeting. The idea is met with enthusiasm, and members eagerly begin brainstorming ways to connect with others. The coalition organizes a regional conference, bringing together activists, educators, and community members from across the area. The event serves as a platform for sharing resources, strategies, and success stories. Amara is excited to see individuals from different communities coming together with a shared vision of equity and justice. At the conference, Amara speaks about the importance of solidarity in advocacy work. When we unite our voices, we become a force for change, she declares. Together, we can challenge systemic injustice and create a world where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. Her words resonate deeply, inspiring attendees to continue their advocacy efforts. As the conference concludes, Amara receives messages of gratitude from participants who felt empowered by the discussions and connections made throughout the event. I didn't realize how many people share my concerns until today, one attendee expresses. I'm inspired to take action in my own community. With the regional network established, Amara feels a renewed sense of purpose. She knows that the collective efforts of advocates from various backgrounds can create a powerful movement for change. Together, they begin to develop joint initiatives aimed at addressing systemic racism and promoting inclusivity across multiple communities. One of the key initiatives emerging from the regional network is the Unity in Action campaign. The campaign focuses on collaborative projects that address pressing social issues, such as education equity, housing access, and community health disparities. Amara serves as a key organizer, rallying community members and leaders to participate in the campaign. The campaign kicks off with a series of community service events designed to bring people together and raise awareness about the issues they aim to address. Amara is inspired to see individuals from different backgrounds working side by side, united in their commitment to creating positive change. This is what unity looks like, she remarks during one event, filled with pride. As the campaign unfolds, Amara also leverages her social media presence to amplify its message. She shares stories, updates, and highlights from the community service events, encouraging her followers to get involved and support the cause. The hashtag Unity in Action begins to trend, attracting attention from individuals and organizations beyond the local area. However, Amara remains grounded, understanding that social media can be a double-edged sword. While it provides a platform for advocacy, it can also expose individuals to criticism and negativity. She carefully navigates the landscape, focusing on uplifting voices and sharing positive narratives that foster connection rather than division. Throughout her journey, Amara finds solace in the friendships she has built with fellow advocates. They celebrate each other's successes, share strategies for overcoming challenges, and provide support during difficult times. Amara realizes that these relationships are essential for sustaining her own motivation and resilience. As the months pass, Amara's advocacy efforts continue to gain recognition. She is invited to participate in national conferences and panels, where she shares her story and insights with a broader audience. The work we do at the local level is crucial for driving systemic change, she asserts during one panel discussion. Every effort, no matter how small, contributes to the larger movement for justice. In her speeches, Amara emphasizes the importance of intersectionality in advocacy. We must recognize that issues of race, class, gender, and sexuality are interconnected, she explains. Our fight for justice must encompass all marginalized communities, and we must uplift one another in solidarity. Her words resonate deeply with attendees, many of whom are inspired to consider the broader implications of their advocacy work. As she travels to different events, Amara makes it a point to engage with local activists and organizations, learning from their experiences and sharing resources. There's so much we can learn from one another, she believes. Collaboration is key to creating a more just society. These connections help foster a sense of community among advocates across the country. Despite the challenges she faces, Amara remains committed to her vision of a more equitable future. She recognizes that the road ahead will be long and fraught with obstacles, but her determination is unwavering. "We will not be silenced," she declares during a coalition meeting, inspiring her fellow advocates to continue pushing for change. As Amara looks to the future, she envisions expanding her advocacy work internationally. "There's so much to learn from movements around the world," she reflects. "I want to connect with activists in other countries and explore how we can support one another in our shared goals for justice." To pursue this vision, Amara begins to research organizations and initiatives that focus on global social justice. She attends international conferences and engages with activists from various backgrounds, sharing insights and strategies for advocacy. The connections she forges help broaden her understanding of systemic issues and inspire her to think critically about the role of global solidarity in the fight for equity. In one such conference, Amara finds herself in a room filled with passionate advocates from different countries, all united by a common goal: to challenge oppression and promote justice. As they share their stories, Amara feels a deep sense of connection. "Our struggles may differ, but our fight for dignity and equality binds us together," she reflects. Through her international engagements, Amara also emphasizes the importance of amplifying marginalized voices. "We cannot advocate for others without including them in the conversation," she asserts during a panel discussion. Her commitment to inclusivity resonates with attendees, many of whom are inspired to reflect on their own advocacy practices. As her advocacy journey unfolds, Amara remains grounded in her community. She continues to work alongside the coalition, empowered program participants, and fellow advocates, ensuring that their local efforts remain at the forefront of her mission. "Our work starts at home, and we must continue to uplift our community," she affirms, recognizing the importance of local engagement. With each milestone achieved, Amara remains focused on the work that lies ahead. She understands that the fight for justice is ongoing and that every voice matters. As she reflects on her journey, she is filled with hope, knowing that through collaboration, education, and compassion, they can create a more inclusive and equitable world. "Together, we will rise," she declares, embodying the spirit of resilience that defines her advocacy journey. With determination in her heart, Amara looks to the future, ready to embrace the challenges and triumphs that await her and the communities she serves.
Disclaimer: this channel does not support or tolerate any form of discrimination, racism, prejudice, or violation of human rights. The stories presented here are original and created by the author with the aim of promoting reflection, awareness, and dialogue. All content is developed with respect for diversity and the dignity of all people.